Let's talk positivity. The movement was created to offer an inclusive community for those of all sizes, but some argue that it celebrates being overweight or unhealthy, all at the risk of tackling America's obesity epidemic. The latest CBSN Originals documentary explores the complexity of attitudes surrounding weight in America. It features those trying to change the narrative, as well as those concerned we are avoiding necessary conversations about health. Here's a preview.
In general, I don't celebrate anybody doing anything that I think compromises their health. I don't celebrate you smoking a pack a day. Doesn't make me like you any less. Doesn't make me think any less of you. Doesn't make you any less worthy, deserving, or beautiful. But it will kill you. I don't celebrate that. Body positivity is like a spectrum, right? Like everything else. There's loving yourself, but then there's I deny that I have room for improvement because I've been so hurt and so marginalized that I love this. I find that when body positivity goes to an extreme, it's kind of the same thing. It's like, you can't hurt me with this. I love this. I love being 300 pounds, 400 pounds.
I started practicing yoga when I was in my early 20s. It was a very alienating experience. Like, I was almost always the only fat person, frequently the only black person. So I started posting my photos, and immediately the reaction that I got, it was mostly people being like, I didn't know fat people could do yoga. I have quite a lot of experience with the trolls. They're coming for me for every reason. They feel like I'm promoting obesity. A huge part of my acceptance is using the word fat and really owning it. And it feels in a lot of ways like I am taking a weapon that has been used against me and like putting it on the mantle behind me.
Alicia Stokes joins me now. She's a producer of Speaking Frankly, Fat Shaming. Elaisha, thanks for joining us. So why are people so divided when it comes to weight in America? And I mean, are there any right answers?
You know, I'm really not sure why people are so divided when it comes to this topic, in part because the average American is nearly obese at this point, very overweight to the point of nearly obese. So this is what the majority of the country looks like. And I do think we're starting to have the right conversations about it. We had Michelle Obama's Let's Move campaign. There's been a huge growth in the body positivity industry. But in general, I think it's one of those issues where it's still completely socially acceptable to shame people.
Why is that? Why is it okay to make people feel shamed based off of what might be their own biology and not necessarily anything that the person who's fat shaming knows about? And what makes it so hard for people to have these conversations?
Well, I think that it's not that it's okay for people to shame one another. It's that people still believe that it's an effective way to promote weight loss. But we know that it isn't. There was a study out of the University of College London that said people who were shamed into trying to lose weight actually gained more weight. And so it's a very, very ineffective strategy. In terms of why we're not able to have these conversations, I think weight is such a sensitive issue. It's a very personal issue. It's a very complex issue. There are a number of reasons why we lose or gain weight throughout our lives, and there's so much tied up in our physical appearance that it's sometimes difficult to talk about.
Well, there is an obesity epidemic in the United States, as you point out, but there are potential solutions. So what kinds of solutions do people see as being effective as opposed to shaming when it comes to solving this epidemic?
I think that, one point that a number of people in this documentary make is that you need to promote health at any size. That is, that there are things that you can do to promote health within your body, regardless of how large you are. That includes simple things like going to see a doctor. Often overweight or obese people who go to see the doctor they don't have their ailments taken as seriously because doctors will say, oh, hey, what you need to do is lose weight. Obviously, healthcare is a more holistic, you have to take a holistic approach to your healthcare. So, yeah, I think the number one thing we need to do is just accept ourselves, keep moving more, and create space for people to really feel positive in their own skin.
All right. Elaisha Stokes, thank you.
Thank you.
You can stream the latest CBSN Originals Speaking Frankly episode called Fat Shaming right now at cbsnews.com/shaming.